What's up, buddy? How are you doing today, all player? What are you up to, sir? How's... Oh, that's the wrong way. Alright. Oh. That was clean. That was not so clean. True. It is good that you're sore. Weird that it's your arms. But I suppose everyone... That could be an indication of two things. That it could either be, you really did it. Like, or you weren't using enough back and abs. But still, either way, it's a win. So, I count it as an absolute win. Oh. Okay, I know how I need to do this. I just... If I can execute it, it would be nice. That was very much what I wanted. I should have went in. Gotcha. Well, it's understandable also that you're fairly... I wouldn't say that you're completely new to boxing, but you're fairly new, so you're going to be more reliant on your arms rather than your back and your abs. So... your technique probably isn't the crispest, but still a good thing, because now you know. One on, one off. Oh, gotcha. Little confused there. Dude, it really has been too long for me. Should get back into the swing of things. Damn. 3 rounds in a row is pretty good, buddy. I mean, I'm a big believer in cardio. And just like hitting it as hard as you can. Because if you can do, you know, crazy workouts, then the actual fight will be a... Oh my god, I threw. I do. This is true, buddy. I do have a plan. It is just keeps getting hung up because I really picked wrong when I picked the company to do personal training. I should have picked I think it's International Sports Science Academy. I think that's the name. It's ISSA. They're way better of a company. Oh, that's class! That's class! Mwah. Love the colors, dude. I think you meant to say sweat. Although that is a funny alternative. That is a funny alternative. The more you swear in practice. Motherfucker! I got what you meant, buddy. You don't need to be a wordsmith to have your meaning translated to me. I'm not anally retentive like my father. I love him. I love my dad a lot. Because the only times that you need to be precise with your language is especially when you're communicating with people who aren't going to be able to get you, or if they don't know you. It's okay. R is close enough to T. I mean, they're literally only separated by one key. That is really funny, though. I would love it if that's just... All it took to be good is just swearing a lot. Start sounding like a fucking ridiculous. Just swearing every other word. Oh, this is imminently doable. This is imminently... I remember that I didn't even practice this one that much. I really should do the times on stream. But I like grinding with that. Oh, that was really bad. The world champion of swearing. Yeah, there are benefits, I feel, to both. Like swearing and to not swearing. Because especially if you're like, there are certain people who your message never comes across if you're swearing, because they're, anally retentive. But, the anal retentive people they're not wrong. They're not wrong about it. Because you do turn some people off by swearing. But, that's... Usually it's a good way of measuring the type of people that you want to hang out with, because if they really do care about that sort of thing, probably not going to be very fun to hang out with. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's... Yeah, time and place is important. And you are right, I mean, some people get way too caught up in it for their own good. Then again, I mean, let's be honest, man, if you swear way too much, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It taints your message a little bit if you want to talk to many people. Now, if you don't care about talking to many people, it's a good way of weeding out people that you probably don't want to talk to. So there is that. But, I mean, it is a tactical... I would say you should be cognizant of when you use it. That's, I believe, the correct phrase. Because if you go about it too willy-nilly... Oh, I'm 0.2 off of it. Alright, I got this. I've never heard this song before, but I like it already. No! No! Oh. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think your time and place comment was very insightful, because it's all about time and place. And you're right. Yeah, if you're with your grandparents, you don't want to be calling your grandmother a fucking retard. or, you know, saying fuck every other word. Yeah, I'm disappointed about my performance there, man. I could have so easily had that. Oh no. Oh yeah. Well, and yeah. I think oh, I'm gonna keep going with it, because I think there's a possibility I can make it up. Nope. Yeah, yeah, don't say that to your grandma, man. It would be funny, but yeah, I mean, this is why I like talking with older people, is I don't have my grandparents anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't recognize the value. Like, even if they are dumb as a box of rocks, which, you know, some people are, they still have experienced life, right? And they're not meant for the world now, but they are meant to elaborate stories to you, to help you with the current world, because they're done. Their time is over. They're not the warriors anymore. They're the Gandalfs. They are, yeah, they are very stuck in their ways. Your grandma is the cure. Is that because she slurs her words? Okay, sorry. No, I'm sure your grandma's a great person, dude. You came out of her lineage. That's gotta count for something. I know, I'm kidding. I get it. I know it, liquor. Liqueur. It's the way my dad likes to pronounce it, because well, I'm not pronouncing it like he is. I'm actually making fun of the way he pronounces it. See, liquor. I understand, buddy. You think that... Dude. Also, just because someone mispronounces a word does not mean they're fucked in the head. You're only fucked in the head if you say stuff like true neshama to pressure or bad a calf care. You know. Or damn. Yes, it does. Okay. Then does losing to me in chess mean you're stupid? Like, being able to pronounce things is it just signals your ability to pronounce things. It does not signal intelligence at all. Just means you're good at being a fucking parrot. Does not mean that there aren't uses for parrots in this world. What does stupid mean to you? First of all, I should, like, what's your view of smart versus stupid? Is smart never being wrong? Or is it your ability to pick up new things? Because as far as I'm aware, it is the latter. It is one's ability to be able to pick up something new and understand it. Your sister has a parent? What the Dude, are you having a stroke? What's going on? See, I don't think you're stupid, man. I think you're having a stroke. Oh. Stupid means liberal. Parrot. It's okay, man. Take a breath. One's ability to type does not dictate whether or not you're smart. Just means you're good at typing. Which is a good skill to have. Alright, I am getting tired of this map. I thought I could improve it. I am one off of... Maybe I'll go back to it. Your sister has a parrot. Totally understandable, man. Damn it. I don't even think that's true. Although I can understand using that definition. Not open to learning. But I would characterize that as stubborn. Because I've seen a lot of stubborn, smart people. Well, I guess that's not even true. I've seen some stubborn, smart people. It's smart people who know their own worth, primarily. But that's a reasonable definition, man. So very... being not open to corrections is a very reasonable take. As far as I'm aware, stupidity is just one's inability to comprehend ideas or arguments. And I would also consider that people have certain innate talents that lead them to being able to discuss different topics at a lower or higher level. Right? I don't know, man. I agree that they're not thinking of their health, but I am certain that you can't call them stupid. You can say they're lying to themselves for sure. That I think is almost undeniable. Yeah. Stupidity is because intelligence doesn't dictate how good you're gonna get at something. That's intelligence plus experience. Because I'm sure you've even met people who are like this, that are, kind of they're like middle intelligence, but they work harder. Yeah, blind to truth. Yeah, there's a lot of people. And that's because a lot of people lie to themselves, man. A lot of people. Even me, I'm not immune from that. I just try my fucking darndest to not lie to myself. But even then, people want to think about themselves in certain ways. They want to think about other people in certain ways. People have ideas about the world that are... And also, one of the things that, in my opinion, is as important, if not more important than intelligence, is awareness. Because you can take the smartest person in the world, and if you give them faulty information, they're fucked. They can't operate. But if you give a middle intelligence, just kind of an average person, if you give them all the right information, they can succeed at a pretty high level. Okay, don't anyone take this the wrong way, but that's kind of how I view The Rock. I don't view The Rock as the bastion of an intellect. Well, alright. I mean... You don't have to convince me, man. The important part is, what do you value? You don't even have to have the same values as me, man. That's the beauty of the world, is that you are allowed to be different. You are allowed to have different thoughts and run different conclusions than I am. But it's real important that you don't lie to yourself there, man. Well, yeah. Then again, okay, and at the risk of me getting banned, I don't even fully believe in the official narrative for the Holocaust. I certainly believe that many people died, but especially the number that's given. Whenever people, if everybody knows the same thing, it's usually not true. That was Socrates. And I completely agree. I completely agree with that. If there are stats or figures that most people believe, it's probably not true. Or just ideas that most people believe. Like, I certainly believe a lot of Jewish people died. I do believe that there was a mass killing. But I don't believe in the 6 million. I know, man. I know I gotta be careful with my words. But also, regardless of whether or not I get banned, I'm... like I said before, man, I fucking hate lying. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna lie about my opinions on that sort of thing. Especially because, like, evil triumphs when good men do nothing. I'm not gonna lie about it. And I think it does a disservice to be, if you're not honest about what you believe. Because then people come out of the woodwork and they will take advantage. They'll take advantage of people's ignorance, or they'll take advantage of the fact that you've been lied to, and they'll feed you down a whole trail of darkness. And I'd rather be honest about what I believe. That way I can say I wasn't hiding jack shit from anyone. Certainly a lot of people died. And certainly a lot of Jewish people, a lot of gypsies, homosexuals, the disabled. But I have real problems when people give me, like, and I'm certainly not saying that the Holocaust wasn't primarily about the Jews, because it certainly was. But my thing is I don't like it. You're giving an in to people. Like, do you know what happened? Do you know what the Boston Massacre was? You probably don't, because it's American history, primarily. But the Boston Massacre was a point at which the Redcoats came in and stopped a riot, essentially. So the Crown, the British people, and they stopped a riot. And that, it happened one time. But people, the Americans knew that it was just money. No, not the tea dumping, the Boston Massacre. So, it was like, I think 14 people died. It was somewhere in there. But they reprinted it every year. Same number. And it played up the amount to your average American. Because it's propaganda. You're having a certain set, and it, like, bam, oh my god, they did it again. Boston Hammer, and it hammers it home in people's minds. But the point being, this is things that governments do in warfare, and politicians. They want a specific outcome. And generally, they have a set narrative. And it's usually a phrase or two, or a number or a statistic, yes, dude, BLM is very similar. BLM is very similar. But they have a set number. They have a set story. And you stick with it. And you ride it into the dirt. And it works on most people. Most people don't understand that. Most people, like, their idea is that if they receive information, it's accurate. Because that's how it works in nature. Right? Because you're literally seeing things with your eyes. But propaganda is one of the forms of warfare. And it's really effective to garner sympathy, support, or anger, or resentment, or guilt, or shame, or whatever emotion. And you gotta be really careful when people hammer home a singular message. Like, you learn about the Holocaust, but I'm sure you haven't learned about the Armenian genocide, the Holodomor, the Mao's famine. I mean, all of those things are kind of just ignored. They kind of just don't exist in most people's historical knowledge. Because, quite frankly, they're not paid attention to. And certainly what I'm not saying is that the Holocaust was insignificant. I think it was. And it was terrible. But this is something, it's one of a number of them. It's not like that was it. And it's not as if that was the only one. Yeah. Well, the Armenian genocide, man, I mean, it's horrific. They literally wiped out a people. And we don't talk about it because Turkey let us put military bases in their country. Like, Turkey is, I don't know, I really should do some more research on Turkey as a whole, but as far as I'm aware, they are just fucking awful. Yeah. Sorry, I just get heated about that. But that's good that you at least know about it. Shitty flag. You can see it on the screen, too. It's in the background. Oh, fuck. No, I understand. And yeah. It's just, to me, it's really lazy when because people will give a crap about certain issues and then completely ignore others. And it's not even that I disagree that those aren't issues. Like, I agree with those people that generally, like, I fucking hate the cops. But BLM is a shitty organization too. I can hold both of those things in my mind. And I can also hold the fact that I like a lot of cops too, as people. Like, I'm allowed to have those in my head. I'm allowed to be a nuanced person. What one are you talking about? Oh yeah, well, yeah. Ronnie is the best cop. Yeah. I think that it's honestly very sad, because it's usually a very noble impulse that has been hijacked by you know, people have goals and interests, and they like using noble impulses for evil. I mean, you can look at this very clearly on the left, where they'll take, you know, at least semi-reasonable interests. Oh, the Rwandan genocide. Yeah, that was awful, man. I didn't include it because I got it in my education. Like, there are a couple, like, yeah. Rwanda was fucking awful, though. Yeah, Jenna, I mean, anytime when you're killing massive amounts of people is really bad. I do appreciate that, like, to me, though, genocides aren't even, like, the worst crimes, in my opinion. They're close, but to me, there are groups of people, like, that still, like, fuck the kids in the societies. That, you know, and I'm not even talking about, like, some sort of fucked up, you know, some 17-year-old has sex with, or like, the Native American genocide. To me, it's really played up. It was obviously terrible, but the biggest problem was clearly disease. That was one of the biggest factors. And also, like, I mean, obviously the way they were treated was terrible, but it wasn't a genocide. Now the conquistadors, they were a little bit harsher, but even then I don't think you could call it a genocide. I think you could call that just mass slavery. Spanish were fucking awful. The Spaniards, I should say. Then again, like, yeah, there were obviously problems with residential schools, but I think the biggest key is time, right? That's why, you know, what the Chinese people are doing right now is the worst. Like, I mean, America's really fucked up right now. And so is Canada, so is a lot of Europe, and even Russia with the war. It's awful. But if you, like, the war between Russia and Ukraine is, in my mind, only, like, a decent amount worse than the fact that, like, of what China, I guess I can't even say that. It's definitely worse, because war is the worst atrocity. Or one of the worst, behind stuff. And China is not actively killing the people that they have in their concentration camps. But they are, I mean, what goes on there is horrific. It's just not, like, it's not quite as bad as war. Because war is obviously, nobody wins. But I agree with you, residential schools are bad. They really are. I think the important thing is that you always seek to improve stuff like that. You just make little advancements. If these, as long as the people involved, if they're still alive, they get punished. But if they're not alive, you certainly don't punish their kids. Like, I love my dad, but I'm not my dad. And if my dad did something wrong, you don't punish me for it. Likewise, you don't punish my kids for something I did. I mean, I agree with your teacher. There are, I mean, I almost agree with your teacher. There are only a few times, but, well, actually, I can't even say that. No, I agree with him in the whole, 'cause he's right. You should never want war. I understand the inclination, because we have drives for that sort of thing. We have inherent biological drives to win. Yeah. And I think he's being a little nice. I wouldn't say they're retarded. I would say a lot of them are evil. Oh yeah. Dude, Stalingrad was awful. The German troops were suffering. The Russian troops always suffered. And then everyone was fucking starving. Everyone was... Nobody wins. Nobody but the powerful. And even then, they don't even really win. It's usually just to flex. Usually to maintain control. And I understand, even the Russians, I don't totally, because I think in that war, they were almost completely justified for their, because you're justified in self-defense, and the same if you are gonna have a nation, the same has to be true for a nation. Like, your nation has to be capable of defending itself. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the Germans were in the wrong for invading, but holy shit, did the Russian... I mean, it was worse to be Russian in a lot of ways than it was to be German. Unless you were Jewish. If you were Jewish, you were really, like, you had two fucked scenarios, and so I don't even blame you if you joined the Soviets at that time. Because, I mean, the option is, you know, Germany, who will literally kill you, or Soviet Russia, where, you know, you might not be directly killed, but you'll starve to death. You'll starve to death. A lot of the time. Or just have a terrible life. Yeah. This is fucking awful. Yeah. Dude, a perfect example of that is Poland. I mean, look at what happened to Poland, man. At the very beginning of the war, right? It got divided in half. Half of it was Nazi Germany, the other half was Soviet Russia. Then the Germans pushed through and killed a bunch of Poles in the process. Then the Russians came back and pushed through and they killed a bunch of Poles. No one was happy. No one. Yeah. Well, also you gotta remember that you should look up when Ukraine was created. Because Ukraine, like here, let me... So it was created in 1991. That's really fucking recent, man. And Kiev the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. It was a part of Russia for a long time. Kievian Rus. I'm not saying it's right, but it is how it goes. Well, it started off as just kind of like, they were still part of the USSR, but they were just a member state, kind of like Belarus. And then they moved more towards an independent streak. Especially under the newest President Zelensky. Always gotta be careful. Because everybody's lying. I certainly believe that's how he's being portrayed. Why do you think he is badass, buddy? No judgment, I'm just curious. Is it because he was, at the battlefield? Is it because he stood up to Putin? Sure. I'll give him that. I agree with you. But you gotta think, if Ukraine loses this war, he is not in trouble. Your average Ukrainian is in trouble. Because Zelensky will be welcomed into the West. He'll be welcomed as a hero would be. And he will get his own place. But the Ukrainian people... I do agree with you. He's not... certainly better than our leaders. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. As whatever disagreements I have with him, it pales in comparison. Damn. That is really tough, man. I hope they'll be okay. Have they considered evacuating? And or do they have a plan? What's up, Spence? How you doing, Mr. Spence, man? Oh, it's okay. I just asked if they had either an escape plan, an exit strategy, or you know, all that jazz. Also, Spence, I apologize. I am not good at this game. 5 days in, but just a wealth of determination. Ah! Could just be very patriotic. Yeah. Also, it's possible because they're preventing fighting age men from leaving, so it's possible that the women wanted to stay with their men, which is admirable. Lives in Paris, huh? He's French. That brings us right around to, where are you from, Spence? Spence, the dense man. He's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, and I don't know. I was trying to come up with something. Where are you from, buddy? Well, we're hanging out with the mute all player. It's over. I don't have the charisma. God damn, I'm bad at this game, dude. I'm sorry, Spence. Oh, that was close to a perfect start as I could get. True. That was not as good of an improvement as I hoped for. Not that dumb, all player. I really gotta get this one up to a silver medal at least. I think this will be the last map. As soon as I make a major improvement, I will probably stop streaming for today. But no! Oh! No! Come on! Dude, that would have been perfect! Alright. Well, there's only one way to solve that, and that's... you need to go faster, Ben. Need to harness the speed force. Run, Baron, run! How does the fastest man alive solve his problems? He runs fast. Let me tell you what. I did almost hit the perfect jump. Yo, what's up, Spence? You say one thing and then you leave? What kind of dumb name is Spencer anyway? Reminds me of Trevor. Terrible name. I'm kidding, by the way. If you didn't get that, I'm just roasting you because you are a autistic. No! God damn it. No, I'm happy that he said anything at all. Nice of him. We scared him off. by talking about Ukraine. He just wanted to watch. He wanted to watch Trackmania with nothing. Either that or he realized how bad of a Trackmania player I am. That is possible too. I don't even think he's watching anymore. Karma for calling Spencer autistic. I did know a Spencer who actually was autistic. So, you know, maybe it's just the name. Maybe parents shouldn't name their kids Spence. Oh, yeah, I figured. Well, you know. Hey, that's okay. Alright. This is the one. Oh, I hit a tree. Alright. Oh, he followed me though. I wonder why I didn't get the notification. You have Trackmania as well, right? Well, no worries, man. I mean, you should hang out with him. He's your uncle. Uncles are fun. But Spence, if you're still watching, I do appreciate the follow. I do appreciate it. Church stuff. Is he a pastor? You could ask him. I mean, he'd probably tell you. Oh. I'm just gonna keep headbutting this wall. Are they really religious or something? Okay. Yeah. No, I understand, man. I mean, for a while there, I was pretty much an anti-theist, but that's just because I didn't understand what religion was for. Now I am I guess you could call me a deist. Would be the closest translation to what I am, but no, I understand, man. I mean, some people get really into it, and it's nothing against them. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I do step into churches. And if people invite me to their congregation, I won't say no. No matter what religion. Even the ones that I tend to think have some pretty despicable members, you know, I'm willing to hear you out. But, yeah, I'm not gonna give you a free pass, and usually I won't agree with your interpretation of the world. Damn. Well, yeah. No, I understand that. I understand that deeply, man. I mean, hell, I was pretty anti-religion for a while. I would say at this point I'm almost pro. I'm almost pro-religion. I'm almost at the point where, because I've seen what rampant non-belief does, and it usually ends in leftism. It usually ends with SJWs or gulags. And I'm not saying that's the only end point, but at this point, it really looks like that's the outcome. And so I'm never going full anti-theist again, because I think it is good for people. Even if I don't agree with your interpretation. Yeah. See, that's pretty close to what I believe. I mean, there are certain ideas that are fundamentally religious notions that to me are beautiful and define some of my worldviews, because I wouldn't have arrived at those points without religion. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, nobody really knows. What's the blatant loophole? I don't think it's say that you believe in Jesus. I think if you truly believe, which would make sense, right? I'm not saying that I agree that it happens, but it does make sense in their understanding of the universe, right? I need to look up how to do this map, because otherwise I'm gonna lose my mind. I don't understand how to do it. But it makes sense with their worldview. I don't think that it says that you should get into heaven just because God loves you. It is I understand I think I understand where you're going with that. Which is that if God loved you, shouldn't that mean that he should let you into heaven? Because who would torture someone that they loved forever by putting them into hell? Is that what you were going after? Here, I'm basically done. So we can just chat. Yeah. Well, okay. I think the best way, at least for me, to view the Bible is it's a metaphor. Right? It's a metaphor, it's an allegory, it's a parable. Like, these are not actual things. But that doesn't make them less real, if that makes sense. Because I don't think that it is... I agree with you. I think that if someone sent their son to die, I don't think that's... Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. These are a lot of the same gripes that I had with it as well. But for me, like, the importance of recognizing that this is, like, the best way to put it is, this is a collection of tales that are generally parables for living a good life and rules for living a good life. And some of the rules are outdated, but you know what? A lot of them are quite important. And let's take the first commandment. Thou shalt worship no other God before me. Now, if you take that and view it as just a being who does that, that's kind of fucking sadistic, and but if you view it as something of like, replace the word God with the truth, or replace the word God with the universe, and you kind of start to understand. Because I think a lot of people get hung up on, at least people like you and I, get hung up on thinking of God as an entity. But I think one of the ways that you can also view him as is an idea, right? Like, it's much more of an idea of everything that's good in reality, rather than a being. Because a being is limited, right? I've always been fascinated with these types of stories. Not just the Bible, but stuff like ancient Greek myths, or ancient Egyptian, or Norse. And generally, the gods aren't really supposed to represent people. Or a god isn't supposed to represent people. It's supposed to be a metaphor for things. For the internal struggles. Right? The devil on your shoulder and the angel. Or the angel and the devil. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Those are metaphors. Same with God versus the devil. Like, the good is more powerful than the evil. Right? You don't even have to believe in the Bible to think that's true. That's more of the strain that I'm talking about. Is you don't, like, and so many people, when they're pushing their religion, yeah. No, I agree with you, man. It states that God made man to look in his own image. I think that's partially because and here's where I'm going to put it more on the fact that it was written by people. So it's not, to me, this is why I won't fit into any religious sect generally, is it's not a perfect book. I think that there are errors in it. I understand why they did that, is because this fits into their metaphor better, to have God make man in his own image, right? And but that's probably just for metaphysical consistency, meaning that man, it allows men to be both half God and half animal, right? Which is our state of nature. And a lot of religions go into like how to understand that dichotomy. How to understand how we are capable of greatness and evil. And even within the same person, right? Like, that's just how humans are. We're complicated like that. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, imagine if God was like a squid, dude. You think people would respect that more? Some people, sure. But, yeah. No, I agree completely, man. You want to have people that you can relate to. Because you can't, like, it's using your own empathy to be able to translate story motifs to you. Yeah. Well, that's why, like, some of the existential horror is based on stuff like deep sea gods of like that look like octopi or squid. Is that terrifies people if something's inhuman, that it's almost human but not quite. That's the most terrifying to a lot of people. When they're exactly in your image, that's totally fine. They don't care. Oh, man. But, yeah, man. There are monkey gods. That's in China. In China, they have Sun Wukong, who is both, he's like a demigod type deal. I think. Don't quote me on that. But there are monkey gods out there.
Hey, Ben.
What's up, Peter? I was just
Uh,
finishing up streaming.
oh, you're streaming?
Yeah, I was just about to end it. Bye, all player. Thanks for the chat. I'll chat with you about this anytime, man. I love talking about that. Alright. And the reward.
I wish my Bubba was good. Not just absolutely pulling everywhere.